Hazel, I have learned so much from you through the years, so many intricacies and so many grand themes. I mean, just the whole gamut. And really it's sort of the journey of the soul. And I would love for you in your beautiful articulation to share just in the most concise way you can for a video like this, your wisdom.
Thanks. First, just thank you for the precious companionship. Really appreciate it. You know, my soul blossoms in the presence and we share so much. I'm really grateful.
Thank you, Hazel.
I think the subject, it'll be fascinating to look at it from narcissism. This theme that I haven't met any person on earth except very, very, very few, maybe Dalai Lama or something like that, who is not that narcissistic. Every human being is narcissistic in the sense that I, me, and myself. Really. No matter what, when push comes to shove, when you step on their toes, hear it, I, and me, and my. And if you look at it, isn't it fascinating that this race, every individual is preoccupied with a sense of self? That's fascinating. Why? Why are we so occupied with a sense of self? Now, this is not just a sense of self that will be satisfied when you reach the absolute and you realize your selfhood. That doesn't do it. Still, there is something nagging. Still something want to be unique, want to be special, you know? And after unique and special, that's not enough. Still wants a little bit more. The best, like me, the best in the West, in the North, in the South, in the East, you know? There is like a progressive quest in this preoccupation with the self or the self itself. The self itself is preoccupied. Now, this self could be a self on the level of what we talked about as an ego, an image of a self, an idea of a self, a belief, something we learned, something we got mirrored back, whatever, how we developed our ego, and how this, by time, this ego became our identity. Originally, this ego was developed by an authentic self. The child has an authentic self, born with it, God-given. You know, call it soul, call it higher self, individuated higher self, beautiful being. And this self struggles with the environment, with mom, with dad, trying to be seen, trying to be mirrored, trying to be loved, trying to have its needs met, all the needs that the childhood brings. And in doing so, this soul slowly develops this ego. And this ego develops a core in it that becomes in time what we call ego identity. Within this ego, there is a sense of an identity, and that identity, most people take it to be themselves. At a certain age, usually between, I think, 7 to 9, the child loses the connection to its authentic self and begin to form, separate. It's one of the most painful stages at that time. And instead of its consciousness united with the higher self, the free self, the soul God-given, that soul and that consciousness become trapped in this ego structure. And then the consciousness sticks to this ego structure, to this image, to this idea, to this belief as the self. And people spend so much time and energy trying to upgrade the self, or hide it, or polish it, or you name it, so busy about it that is, their life is not free, is not spontaneous, is not evolving. And if we look at this preoccupation with that self and how the self escalates to a pinnacle that we can only attributed to a god or a goddess. If you look at the ego, it doesn't want to be anything less. If it want to be anything less, it has to be the least of the least, the lesser of the lesser, like what they call them, I think, closet narcissist. I am nobody, I don't exist, only being exists, but I don't exist. It just happened to be that I and being are one and the same. Give me a break. Really, you don't exist and you are being, and this is my nature and this is me, So it's another form of narcissism that's coming through denial. So either narcissistic, the way we know about I am the best, or narcissist through denial, I don't exist, or I am the least. In all of it, there is either the highest of the high or the lowest of the low, which is a form of godhood. Either I am Satan, the devil, or I am God, or the archangel. So inherent in this ego, inherent in this quest, is a drive, a need, a feeling that I am God. And I won't be satisfied with anything less. So even you give it enlightenment, says, oh, okay, great, I am the absolute, but it's not enough. I want to be the unique absolute, the unique somebody, nobody, even Buddha didn't become that way, or Christ didn't become that way. So the absolute doesn't solve the uniqueness of our quest. So the journey of the soul, or the evolution of the soul, is that to help us in the spiritual journey, recognize that our quest is to be God and Goddess again. And God and Goddess is reaching the authentic self, the original self that we came with. That's the God and that's the Goddess. When we realize that, then the individual realizes, I am God, I am a Goddess. In the sense that I am the creator. I create my reality. I write my own karma, my own scripts. I interact with each other to create realities. We are all creators. And that's God, the creator, the destroyer, creator, dissolver. So it's us.
And the point of light?
That's the point of light. That when the ego journeys into its narcissism, when we work on our narcissistic issues, we reach the core of the ego, this narcissistic core that says I, and we say that's the ego identity. We find in it there is no I, no identity. There is a whole. There is no self, because the narcissist is empty. Inside their core, there is no self. And when we allow this emptiness to open, this existential void to open, this narcissistic emptiness to open, it gives room for the real self to show. And people have beautiful experiences. They see sometimes themselves as a point of light. Sometimes they see themselves as an angel. Sometimes they see themselves as this beautiful being, ornamented jewels, crowns. The Prophet Muhammad says, I've seen my Lord, Rabbi or Rabbi, the Lord, which is the point of light, as a youth of extreme beauty, sitting on a throne of jewels and gold, wearing robes of glory and green, and wearing sandals of gold. I mean, a breathtaking being. You see so much of it in the paintings of the Tibetans, Tara and Abulakat, all of the beautiful being wearing jewels and crowns and ornaments. This is the higher self, a being made of jewels and light. It's a God, it's a goddess, it's a creator. Now we are all this way. In what they call it? In the Bible, there is a story about that there was a youth living in the land of illumination, and was sent by his family to go to the land of Egypt to look for Princess Precious Pearl and to find her, liberate her from the magicians and bring her home. And then he becomes, a king among kings and queen among queens, So the hymn of the pearl, I think it's called, the hymn of the pearl. So even in the Bible, the story of us as gods and goddesses, kings and queens, in a kingdom of illumination and light, and we come to this world to cultivate a pearl, experience and learning and evolution, and then we go back home. This is the story of the point of light as a god and a goddess created in the image of God, in the or the goddess, you know, and a creator. So the ego has fallen, is the fallen angel from that high being, and it want to go back. So if we guide it, it unites, then the ego begins to dissolve its rigidity and its narcissism, and the ego, in fact, the person turns from narcissism to altruism. You know, you really reach altruism when you become 100% narcissist. You know, as long as you don't become 100% narcissist, you're still not altruist. There's still, you have to struggle with that narcissistic part, not giving you full freedom. But when you reach yourself, the narcissistic part that's longing for a self got fulfilled. You reached what you wanted. Then there is resolution. You are your point of light. You are this beautiful being. And then this being begin to journey into more evolution. It's just like how the child grows into studying and learning and all of those things. This also point of light goes through stages of evolution, more maturation, more wisdom, more learning, more enlightenment, more capacities, more richness, and it till it reaches enlightenment. It becomes enlightened. Then God reaches godhood. Godhood is enlightenment, is the field, is the being itself. You know, enlightenment and darkenment. You reach that field, then that field is the source of infinite creation, infinite creativity. It doesn't create, we create from it. In it, there are programs that are constantly perpetuating life and existence. We add to that programming, we evolve this kingdom, we co-create. Most of the time, our creation is a mess. Every day, we co-create, we create our history. Our unconscious rules, our point of light has not much to say, and our ego and unconscious bring mom and bring dad and bring our history, and we live in our darkness and suffering. As we liberate from that, the point of light begin to evolve from like to being the exhausted self, the enlightened self, the divine worldly self. It reaches higher and higher evolution and enlightened and reaches godhood. So God attains to godhood. Then you realize that you have a kingdom you are living in. From source of creation, you can create from it, to manifestation that's forever enchanting, forever evolving, and potentiality to create, to evolve. Nothing is set, is always has more potentiality to evolve. No matter how enlightened Buddha was, if he comes now, he wouldn't know how to use iPhone. You know, so there is evolution. His soul hasn't evolved enough to know the technology of the time. So this soul then reaches its peak, pinnacle, God and godhood. And that stage is really wonderful, that stage of enlightenment. And many people don't want to come back. Many people want to stay in the field and experience the joy and the richness and the jewels and the light and the infinite kingdom, all of those things. And many of them want to be like yogis in caves or, monasteries or things like that. Beautiful. But that's beautiful, that's wonderful. But the soul also longs to come back, live, evolve. But this time from an enlightened perspective, from openness, from lightness, from creativity, from compassion, from joy, from wonderment, from bowing to the immensity of this kingdom. How has this kingdom come to be here? How did we create it? The Aborigines say our ancestors sang the earth. They walked the earth singing, and trees came and kangaroo came, and so then there is something magical, something beautiful. The knowledges that especially this knowledge of the logos of creation begin to unfold. The kingdom of heaven begin to manifest. The kingdom of heaven is right here at hand. But we've been before so much lost in the seeking of ourselves and in the seeking of our potential. So when that is realized, we come back again, God and goddesses with godhood, into our humanness again. Mm-hmm. From human to God, from God to godhood, from godhood back again to our humanness. And the kingdom, but this time it involves much more than the limitations that we used to live. There is perception and gratitude and acknowledgement of what is here and the glory of what is here and the bowing to the immensity of what is here. And that to every soul that has journeyed, God knows how many lifetimes and dimensions and all of that. So this is, to me, part of the soul journey and evolution. It's an incredible journey. It's not the journey of the mind back to enlightenment. Yes, the mind now is busy with disturbance, as Obi-Wan Kenobi said, disturbance in the field. Take away the disturbance, there is the field. That's enlightenment. But the soul continues, evolves, matures. Really, that's the glory I felt. Many spiritualists keep denying and negating that there is a soul or there is a self, and we are only the absolute. Then these points of light, we deal with them this time with a spiritual superego that keeps negating them. While the Christ, but the Dalai Lama, even in this book called The Nature of Mind, it's a little book, an interview, in which he talks for the first time, somebody talks about the existence of an entity, and this entity does not dissolve when you reach Maha Enlightenment. In fact, Maha Enlightenment sets it free. But with that freedom comes responsibility, comes glory. To be a God is not just glorious, but it's also immense responsibility, because whatever you create come back to you and affect whatever around you. So you don't think you are not significant or you are so mighty you can run everything your way. You realize even God is ruled by his or her own creation. To me, it's fascinating perception. I hope it helps others not to leave their point of light behind. Help it to come, integrate the ego in it and help it to come to its fruition, to its maturation. And there is no end to that maturation. How much the soul can evolve? My God, infinite.
Thank you.